This is the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. I'm Kevin Scholla in the 3D Security and Training Academy studios.
Ordinary Americans, though, equipped for extraordinary things because they've come forward to serve and to save Americans' lives.
Our amazing volunteer military sacrifices so much to protect our freedom. Sarah Palin makes it a point to recognize these men and women whenever she can. Today, we're proud to have two military women on our show. Retired Air Force Staff Sergeant Erica Diggs is here, as well as Skylar Vanel. She's a military spouse and soon to be an Army nurse herself. We'll talk to these two great Americans and thank them for all they do in just a moment. A huge victory in Israel, not only for Israelis, but for Americans. Governor Palin congratulates Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. A brand new installment of Liberty and Legacy with Tamara Colbert is on the way from Texas. And just ahead, our latest edition of Steel Resolve with Sarah Steelman in Missouri. Welcome to the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. The Palin Update is sponsored by 3D Security and Training Academy. Learn more at 3dsta.com. Our incredible military is made up of the best our country has to offer. Men and women who go the extra mile for all of us. Today, we have two awesome American patriots on the show, two women with different ties to our armed forces. We start with Erica Diggs. Erica's from New Orleans. She's had a successful career in uniform, including 3 deployments, and now she's just as successful as a businesswoman in New York City. Erica Diggs, welcome to the program. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks so much for being here, and mostly thank you so much for your service. A really impressive career you've had in the U.S. military. Let's tell people about what you've done for our country. What branch were you in and how long?
I was in the United States Air Force. I served 10 years active duty and 3 years in the Air National Guard in New York, and 3 years in the Air Force Reserve. And
that includes 3 deployments, 1 to Jordan and 2 to Iraq. Let's talk a little bit about that and what years were you in those countries and what was that like?
Oh, my deployment started right after 9/11. I was there for the kickoff of the war in Jordan. And then every year after that, I was deploying. So, it's I can kind of talk about it as if it's nothing because I've experienced it and I'm used to that life. And I know people are, they're anxious to find out what happens out there. My first deployment, I was terrified. Didn't know what was going on. Fortunately, it was in Jordan. They're friends with the U.S. So we were basically there just flying bombing missions. The next 2 deployments were in Balad, Iraq. And those were the worst ones, where we were actually coming under gunfire and getting mortar attacks. I survived over 300 mortar attacks with the 2 of them combined.
It's amazing. I mean, and, people all the time, talking heads and politicians, they say are men and women in combat. But, a lot of times people think of a soldier, they think of an Air Force member, they think of men. I mean, it's just what people do. And here we have so many brave women who are out there every day, whether it's home or abroad or in these theaters where, war is happening daily and putting their lives on the line for all of us. You're a mom too. So, you have people to come back to here at home. So let me ask you this. Why did you get into the military in the first place? What was it that drew you to the Air Force?
I'm going to be completely honest. What drew me to the Air Force is I wanted to get away from my parents and their strict rules. And I knew the only thing that I could do was join the military because I'd have enough money to, get a place to stay, get a vehicle. Other than that, I'd have to go to college and I'd still have to, be under my parents' rules. And I was just over it.
Wow, look at that. Diggs going rogue and going to where most people say the opposite. Wow, look at these rules of the military. You said, hey, this is a vacation.
Oh, no, you don't know Mama and Daddy Diggs. And my dad is a Vietnam veteran, so he was in the Navy, and they didn't really want me to go to the military, but they said if I was to go to any branch, it would be the Air Force. And my older sister was in the Air Force as well, so she was a huge example to me, and I saw how much fun she was having, and, she was independent. She was doing her own thing. So I wanted my independence. And I know people say, well, you're going to the military. They tell you what to do. It was the best decision I ever made in my whole life.
That's incredible. Well, thank you to your father as well. My grandfather was Air Force, and our friend J.D. Morgan, whose company sponsors this program, and his wife, Air Force as well. So certainly a branch that we have close to our heart, with all of the branches, of course, of our wonderful volunteer military, which still amazes me, especially with what's going on now. People still signing up on their own when they know that this war, the war on terror, is just ongoing. It's incredible. Now, let me ask you.
Of course. People would ask me stuff like that. What if there's a war? Well, that's what I signed up for.
Wow. And you knew that. And like you said, you had that, baptism under fire in Jordan, and then you were ready for the other deployments.
Right.
Now, you do something completely out of the realm of the military now, and you're doing so well at it. Tell us about your company. And, you're a New Orleans girl, but you're in the Big Apple now in New York City, and you have a thriving business. What is your business, and how'd you get into that?
I'm a jeweler, and, things just happen. I didn't imagine myself being here growing up years ago, but I'm here. I decided to come to New York because I wanted to be in the fashion industry, in the beauty industry. And I took that route, and as I started seeing the people amongst me, the people that I'm looking up to, I'm realizing that everyone's struggling. And it's not just struggling from the recession. Working in fashion and working in beauty is a real hustle. And it wasn't something I was ready for. I'm used to steady money coming in. And fortunately for me, I've always had a great network of people. So I was doing a photo shoot, and it was with an actor called Brian White. I don't know if you remember him from the movie Stump the Yard.
Sure.
And while I was getting everything together, I realized, it's been really hard trying to gather jewelry pieces for men. Women, not a big deal. But when we would go to the showrooms and try and pull jewelry for men, there wasn't a huge selection. And if you didn't have a really big name, the showrooms weren't letting you pull. So I decided I was going to start hand making bracelets. I learned how to do the macrame stitch. When I was in Iraq, we would take parachute cords, and we would take the back button off of our BDU pants, and we'd make like these friendship bracelets and just give them away. That was something that we did in our spare time. So I started making bracelets, and everyone loved it. I started posting them on Facebook. People wanted to buy them. I opened a little online store, and I started making a lot of money. And word got around from the one person to the next. And before you knew it, I made way more money making handmade bracelets than working in beauty and fashion. So there was no choice for me.
And,
that basically was it.
I've seen some of your great work, online, and you have some patriotic pieces, too. I've seen a lot of red, white, and blue there, along with some of the gemstones that are in the bracelets and other things. You certainly have that military touch on things.
Oh, yes, definitely. I love doing themed work. And as I'm doing these beaded bracelets, I'm realizing that, it's a trend right now. But what happens when the trend goes out of style? I'm so used to making this money, but once the trend kind of washes away, what am I going to do? So I literally, for like 6 months, I was looking for the next best thing. And I stumbled upon a girl that was just like me. And she said, Erica, I did the same things that you did. Now I'm in the diamond industry. You need to switch over to fine jewelry because the money is much longer. You're not going to sell as much, but when you sell, you're going to make a lot more money. I took that. I used the rest of the money that I had left in the GI Bill. I moved back to New York. I was in Los Angeles at the time. I moved back to New York. I went to jewelry school. I got my certificate as a bench jeweler, and that's basically general. You do everything in the jewelry business as a bench jeweler. Set diamonds, carve wax, design, goldsmith, everything. I wanted to learn everything there was, and I did it. And I went out, and I just started working. I started grinding. And here you go. Off of one piece of jewelry, I make more than what some people make in a week. Or I may make more than what some people make in a month off of one piece of jewelry. And it's awesome.
And
I feel so blessed and fortunate.
It's completely different, obviously, but it seems you have that work ethic of, someone who was a staff sergeant in the Air Force, but using it in a different realm completely. And it's funny because here you are, you're in the Air Force, you're doing modeling, you're working in the fashion industry, and who would have thought, where your path would have taken you, but you're in the right spot, no doubt about it.
Absolutely. I have some of my friends says, hey, Erica, I can't believe that, you actually did it. You wanted to do it, and you did it. And that's all I know, and it's the discipline that I learned from being in the military. You don't play around with things. You either do it or you don't.
As we mentioned, you are in New York now, but, you can't take the girl completely out of Louisiana. If you go to Diggs and Company's website, which is diggsandco.com, there's a fleur-de-lis right on the front of the first page. So, and it's not just for the Saints, it's for the entire state and city, I bet. So, I noticed that.
I'm so glad you realized that. Everyone's like, why do you have the Saints logo? No, it's not. It's my heritage. It's New Orleans. And, I carry that name, Diggs. My father was Roy Diggs. He passed away right before I got out the military. My last deployment, my dad told me right before I left, it's time to start thinking about what you want to do outside of the military. I think it's time for you to get out. And 2 months later, he passed away. My dad was my best friend in life, and I still hear his words, and I took heed to what he said, and I'm so glad I listened to him.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, you're doing so well, and I think that your story really could give some other veterans some hope who maybe aren't doing so well. Sarah Palin spoke at CPAC this year about some serious issues concerning our veterans, whether it's PTSD or obviously physical injuries, divorce rates, suicide attempts, and some that aren't just attempts, unfortunately, and all these things that happen, jobs not being available, the disaster with the VA and everything that happened there. So I think that hearing your story, my hope is that for women and men who maybe haven't found their niche yet or haven't found what they want to do, can see that you said, hey, look, I had no idea I was going to go into, be a jeweler. And here you are rolling.
And I'd like all my fellow veterans to know that it was not easy. I went through obstacles trying to reach my goal. And I'm still working to get to a higher place, but I had problems with my ex-husband. I had problems financially. When I decided that doing fine jewelry was what I wanted to do, I knew it was not going to be easy, and I knew I was going to have to sacrifice. I had to give 150% to what I wanted. And by giving 150%, I couldn't do it part-time. I had to put my all into it and take from everywhere else. So I'm in school, and I'm trying to, take care of my family and take care of my personal lives, my finances, and it was really, really hard. I used the last bit of my GI Bill that I had left, but, in the middle of school, it ran out. So I really had to sacrifice and, put some of my personal needs and wants behind me. I slept. I rented rooms. I slept on the floor. I did what I had to do, and I sacrificed because I knew what was ahead of me was bigger than what was behind me. And you just have to work. You have to have that work ethic, and you cannot give up.
Well, you're proof of that. Erica Diggs, we thank you for being here. She is a veteran. She is now a successful businesswoman, a mama grizzly, too. And if you put an AM in front of Erica, it spells America. And, you've really done a lot for us, and we thank you for that, and thank you for being on the show today.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kevin.
For more on Erica Diggs, visit Diggs and Company's website, diggsandco.com. That's diggsandco.com.